The so-called popularity of Nicola Sturgeon has come to an end. Yesterday, Scotland's Qualifications Authority, or SQA, released the exam results across Scotland, and obviously because of the lockdown, exams were cancelled, and teachers and schools were predicting the results, and then Nicola Sturgeon got the SQA to use a formula, a system, to do their own predictions and give out these results. Guess what happened? They damaged and destroyed the future of young people who happen to be working class and who happen to be from deprived areas, because Nicola Sturgeon really cares about ordinary people. So in this video, we're going to talk about the consequences and what's actually happened. You've got Nicola Sturgeon and John Swinney, the Education Secretary, who are responsible, and but also the management of the SQA. And it's a very fascinating thing, because the way things are going, people are finally waking up in Scotland. They're rising up against the SNP and Nicola Sturgeon, especially SNP supporters themselves. So let's look into the details of what's exactly happened. Firstly, this is the woman who's always claimed, judge me on my education record. I mean, she said the same about judge me on health, judge me on everything else. None of it is going well. Education standards, schools are already going down in Scotland over the last few years. And so you have especially deprived areas and the working class kids who are being damaged already. But you have some of the smartest kids who happen to be living on a council estate who are being completely destroyed by this woman. One of them is Olivia Bigart, who said her medical dream is in tatters after the results were downgraded. A straight A pupil's dreams of medical school have been destroyed with the arrival of a single text message. It's not Olivia's fault. She's worked really hard. She studied very hard. And so she achieved 5 A's in her higher prelims and was predicted by her teachers to be awarded the same when her results arrived on Tuesday morning. But despite having spent the summer studying for the university clinical aptitude test, she was awarded 2 A's and 3 B's. Based on what? Olivia, who's 16, believes that she was downgraded because of where she lives, and she's not the only one. The SQA has lowered 125,000 grades estimate, which is a quarter of the total. And guess where they are all from? Deprived areas, council estate, working class kids who are being destroyed, their careers being destroyed and ruined by Nicola Sturgeon and her SNP, so-called government. This is really bad, because Nicola Sturgeon has said now that the teachers' grading of their pupils was not credible, as she defended this obviously downgrading of these grades for a quarter of all entries. So first she attacks and targets pupils and young kids and their families, and then she's now targeting teachers and schools, because teachers don't know about their own work. Teachers don't know about their own pupils in their classrooms. We're going to have to get bureaucrats from the Scottish government to tell these teachers that you're not really credible. We're going to predict their results for you, and you're going to have to accept it. This isn't really good, because firstly, under teacher estimates introduced after the cancellation of exams, their higher pass rate would have soared by 14% percentage points from last year to an unprecedented 88%. So they got scared, because they thought, what if all these kids get better grades? And it's not just because of predictions, because that's what they thought. It was simply because because it was already in the news, there are a lot of kids who were staying at home. They had nothing else to do. They've been really working hard. They've been studying hard for these exams and just their schoolwork. They're scared that the standards would go up and all these kids want to go to universities and they don't know what to do with it. So what they decided to do is bring down some of the grades, but focus and target the working class kids. Well done, Nicola. Absolutely well done. This is absolutely embarrassing. You got John Swinney, the Education Secretary, saying that in a year of so many worries, young people should be very proud of their achievements in the SQA results. Pass rate in the national, yeah, he's come up with basically spinning all these stats and percentages. That's what they always do. It's a very new Labour thing to do that the SNP does all the time. But he's lying to you. And do you want to hear more lies from John Swinney? Just watch this.
Appeals process in just a second, Mr. Swinney. But if this system is fair, then why have children from the most deprived backgrounds been downgraded more than any other group? You know, we're hearing from young people that were expecting A's and B's. Some haven't passed at all. I mean, that's not fair.
Well, when you look at if you look at the question in a slightly different way, when you look at the improvements in the pass rate, the improvement in the pass rate in the most deprived communities is up by a greater proportion than in the least deprived communities. So what we see is that's why the attainment gap is closing, because we're seeing a rising performance amongst deprived pupils, and there is no evidence that young people in deprived communities have been disadvantaged, because the pass rate in their circumstances at higher has increased, and that's resulted in the closure of the attainment gap, which of course is a priority of the Scottish Government and to which we have concentrated significant resources.
But is it fair that those pupils from disadvantaged schools are being judged on what their predecessors had achieved? That's not fair either, is it?
Well, of course it's not fair. And he's lying. He said there's no evidence. You have teachers and parents complaining. Not one, not two. And he says there's no evidence. Trust me. When these teachers get together eventually in the next few days, in the next few weeks, and gather all this so-called evidence, then trust me, they're going to be in a lot more trouble, because Nicola Sturgeon, so complacent, the day before this happened, she tweeted, thinking of all the young people across Scotland waiting for the results tomorrow. The last few months have been so tough for you. So whatever tomorrow brings, well done. And remember, there are always options open to you. Good luck to you all. So that exactly, I know exactly what that means. She's again afraid. She was afraid of university spaces facing some challenges. So she wants to basically discourage people from aiming high. And there are always options for you. Other options. You could go to the job centre, get universal credit. Why not? And this is the same woman who uses her daily press briefings to rant about her own fake achievements, lying about the numbers during the lockdown. And when there are, political issues that come up, she always expresses her opinion using these press briefings. But when this came up, she said, oh, no, let's focus on the lockdown numbers, guys. This is not an important issue. I'm not going to use this press briefing to talk about something that's not related to the lockdown. This is embarrassing. Because of this, people in Scotland are finally rising up, even SNP supporters. You have David Martin saying that #resign Sturgeon. I'm a huge supporter of the SNP, but this is awful. Do the right thing, Nicola Sturgeon. Call it a day before you drag the party down with you. And you have other tweets as well. You got someone saying that I went to a disadvantaged school. I got free school meals. I got straight A's. If I was given grades according to the SQA results, I wouldn't have. Young people from working class backgrounds should not have their life chances harmed by the SQA. And then you have Jennifer Ross saying that Sturgeon said, let me be clear. I want to be judged on this. If you're not, as First Minister, prepared to put your neck on the line on the education of our young people, then what are you prepared to? It really matters. #resign Sturgeon. And you got Craig Edwards saying, this is actually quite interesting, because he says 133,000 grades changed, no explanation, no evidence viewed, futures ruined. All because kids grew up in a council state or social deprivation. No wonder #resign Sturgeon is trending. This political issue will not go away. Craig Edward is right, Jennifer Ross is right, everybody who've been tweeting. And this is a very, obviously, risky situation. The SNP and Nicola Sturgeon spent the last few years going around doing whatever they want to do, and because there's no credible, a proper opposition to actually challenge her. And this is a problem. There's a lot of people in Scotland, not everybody, there's a lot of people who just by default vote for the SNP because they think, well, that's the default option. It says Scottish National Party. Clearly, they care about us. It's the same problem with a lot of people who vote Labour in the UK because it's called Labour. It sounds like work, so working class. So they care about people, not in reality. And so Nicola Sturgeon should be in trouble. There are a lot of people in the SNP who are quitting the party, ruining their membership cards, and you have ordinary people who finally waking up to actually say something and speak out. And we'll definitely cover this more on this channel because yes, the BBC and Sky mentioned it, but only in a way that's saying, oh, the SQA released the results. Oh, there are some issues. There are some unfortunate incidents. They're not criticizing Sturgeon, they're not criticizing Swinney, they're not criticizing the bureaucrats at the Scottish Qualifications Authority, but we will. So make sure that to support us, subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell next to it, and become a member by checking in the link in the description. You get more content. And I'm Tousi. I'll see you guys in the next video.